So, hi, Look Nice Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with
Craig from Dead Rabbits.
and some questions to say about the upcoming album Redefined. So, congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the
Thank you.
response to the announcement so far?
The response seems pretty awesome. And it's obviously very exciting for me because Dead Rabbits has just been my creative outlet passion project for many years.
Mhm.
Uh, the first record that I did or EP that I did was self-released. I just flew up to Ohio to Caleb Shomo's house. This was before he was taking over the world with Beartooth.
Yeah.
And did that first EP and came up with the band name. And it's just kind of been like my little baby for the time being. Anytime I have time off from Escape the Fate, I always try to drop some new music. So this is like the first actual release with a team behind it. And,
Mhm.
it feels good. I just wanted to go full force with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of just having this as like a thing that I do in my free time. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
can't I do both at the same time? Let's
exactly.
do
Why
it.
the hell not? And
Exactly.
with that, with kind of approaching it to, damn, you have a team, you're doing a full rollout, there are a lot of eyes on you. Is there any anxiety or hesitation now that it's kind of like not your little secret anymore?
No, there's not much anxiety or hesitation
Mhm.
at all. I feel like I still to this day get more anxiety and hesitation when it comes to dropping new Escape the Fate music. I feel
Oh.
like Escape the Fate is just it's a very easy band to hate on because of the history and stuff. So it just feels like no
Mhm.
matter what I do when I go in there,
Yeah,
it's gonna be viewed at under a microscope and before
for
people
sure.
even hear the first note, they're just gonna be judging it in a negative manner. So
Mhm.
not only is it good to have another project as just a creative outlet, when it comes to Escape, it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen,
Mhm.
Mhm.
so I'll be writing some stuff that I'm feeling really passionate about, and you just got to get used to hearing, nah.
Yeah.
You got
Something
to have
That's
else.
fun.
everybody's input, which is fine. It's a group effort, and
Mhm.
that's what makes a band a band.
Mhm.
Um, so it's great to have it as a creative outlet just for me to do my thing, everything I want to do, but
Mhm.
also having it as my own separate, like this is my thing, this is my baby, and it's something I've wanted to do for
Mhm.
years, and I
Yeah.
have been doing for quite some time now, just very rarely with a
Yeah.
Yeah.
time frame. But
Yeah.
having a team, having people like Cassidy in the background coordinating things, it's
Hmm.
nice
Mhm.
to give it a little more love and a little more attention. And start doing things with the project that I've always wanted to do. Even when it comes to performances, it's always, oh, well, let's just book a show. So you're headlining.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we're getting ready to go out on a tour. The first support tour I did was right after COVID with Red Jumpsuit. Um,
Mm.
we got that hooked up through Twitch because Ronnie and I were both streaming on Twitch over
That's
COVID.
so cool.
We're
Yeah.
like, let's hit the road together. Oh, there's too many factors to figure out with Escape, but hey, I'll come out with Dead Rabbits.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Because guess who needs to give the green light? This
Ding ding
guy.
Only
ding.
you.
So
Yeah.
let's go out and do it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
even when it comes to an operational standpoint, it's just like, oh, I want to do this. I have the time. Well, then I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
Why
You know?
not? Yeah.
So it's great. So this is the exciting thing. Before we
Mhm.
get into even more questions, I figured I would show you first because it just arrived.
Okay.
Check it out. So
Checking it out.
this is my rabbit.
Oh,
Oh
Check him
shit.
out.
shit. That's so dope.
Check him out.
Oh my God.
That's
Is
fucking
that
awesome.
is that going to be a part of your stage
Oh yeah, it's part
present
it's part of the
performance?
stage show. It's something I've wanted to do since the inception of the band.
Yeah.
Plus the band name kind of just
Calls for it.
you kind
Come
of expect it
on.
a little bit, and
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
want it to have its own persona. I want
Mhm.
it to have its own separation
Mhm.
from Escape. Um,
Yeah.
like we tune the guitars lower, we try to go a little heavier, more
Mhm.
experimental, and now
Mhm.
it's like appearance wise, I want it to be its own separate thing. So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to kind of just cover up my face and
Yeah.
become a separate character. So mine came in just in time, and the other masks are being sent out. Those are all like blacked out. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Created by MD Studios, which was
Mhm.
recommended to me. He did a fantastic job on the mask,
Yeah.
and now we have a great working relationship. So I'm excited to announce another tour and premiere a new mask and
Yeah.
gonna be
That
fun.
that's
That's
fucking
so
awesome.
exciting. It looks insane. Holy
Yeah, he
shit.
did such a good job on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely
Well,
gonna elevate that performance.
for sure. Well, we got to hear the record early. It fucking rips.
It's
We've been
incredible.
Thank
following
you.
the singles and have been
Mhm.
very excited and was stoked to get to hear it this morning.
Oh
Thank you
yeah.
very, very much.
Hell
Damn
yeah.
Well, I'm
straight.
happy you guys liked it.
Yeah,
Of
hell yeah.
course.
Now,
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm
I
sure.
guess I lied answering that question. I guess I am a little nervous and anxious if people will like it or not.
Because you
Fair
still
enough.
want people to like it. It's still your baby, you know?
Well, of course, it's still my baby, but it's
Mhm.
just, you know, it's nice to have a project where I'm just going to do whatever I want. And if people like it, that's awesome. If they
Mhm.
don't, whatever. It's just a way for me to get my creative juices flowing and
Yeah.
kind of do what I want to do in the meantime.
Mhm.
Exactly. Now,
100%.
can we talk a little bit about like timeline in terms of like when the writing process for the album started and then when you had the masters in hand? They don't have to be exact dates, just like rough time frame ideas.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Thank you, because I definitely don't have exact dates on anything anymore in my life.
That's fair
Perfect.
enough.
Perfect.
I'm like, feel like I'm spreading myself thin on a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I want to say probably a year ago, if not a little longer,
Mhm.
is when we first got started on it. I know I was out in California working on the Escape Out of the Shadows 2.0 album,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I got invited to go do some guest vocals over at Howard Benson's house
Mhm.
um, for a band called Silo that just released their debut album on Judge and Jury as well.
Mhm.
And me and Howard got to talking. He's like, "Man, I love having you in here. You're such a great guy to work with. We should work together again on something. What's Escape doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm currently in the studio right now, so that's what we're doing. But I do have another
Got this
project
other
that,
elusive
you
thing.
know, I
Yeah.
kind of self-release and stuff. So if you enjoy working with me, let's work together." It's sitting there, and um, Howard really proved that he did want to work with me. He's like, "Let's do it. I'm down."
Yeah. Yeah.
So we started coming in. We worked on just a few songs. It was originally just going to be an EP that we were releasing
Mhm.
on Judge and Jury. And after the release of the first track, which was Mistake featuring Lauren Babick,
Mhm.
they were very pleased with the reaction and said, "Well, maybe we should do some more." I said, "Maybe
Ooh.
we should. Let's
Yeah. Wouldn't be mad at
let's make it
that.
a whole album. Why not?" So
Yeah.
it turned into a whole record. So going in there periodically over the course of the next, I want to say 6 months. And then I feel like I got the masters of the songs maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And
Mhm.
then we really started hammering down on figuring out a release date,
Mhm.
got this tour, let's drop it first day of the tour. Um, just dropped Hellscape
Mhm.
featuring Wednesday 13, who's headlining the tour, and Mixie from Stitched Up Heart, who's also on the tour. Because they were having the conversations of, hey, let's think of some cool guest spots. And I said, why not the people I'm going on tour with? That'll
Yeah.
Exactly.
be
Might as
fun for the
well.
fans coming out to see that show.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that worked out great. I'm excited how that song's reacting, and sky's the limit. Happy to hear you guys like the record.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah. Damn straight. So, is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so it funny enough, if you think about it, the time frame I was doing Out of the Shadows with Escape,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and this is kind of following that same sort of redefined
Yeah.
sort of thing, because going back, I know I'm tired of talking about it, but COVID, the
Mhm.
pandemic,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's gone. It happened. I'm sick of talking about it. But when we're describing like why the album name is the name, it all comes from that time period of my life.
For
Mhm.
I
sure.
got sober over COVID, which was
Congrats.
Hell
the
yeah.
best decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah. Congrats.
So obviously a lot of the creative stuff that's coming out of me right now is just about making all those positive life changes. You get a little more clear-headed, and now I'm starting to heal that inner child in me. You
Mhm.
start realizing that, some of your addictions were just covering up deeper rooted issues.
Mhm.
So a lot of self-work going on. I'm a little late to the game because I'm 37 now,
Never
Never
too
but
too
late.
late.
it's
Never
never
too
it's never
late.
too late to start healing yourself.
Exactly.
So that's what the basis of the record is about.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Hell yeah.
Just
Wonderful.
finding yourself, saying, cheers to goodbye, a little Escape the Fate plug.
Uh
Cheers,
huh.
cheers to goodbye to all
There
those
you go.
old
Yeah. Mhm.
addictive ways you used to have, and just the person that you're not. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm excited about this persona, is I feel like it's kind of tapping into that that darkness that
Mhm.
started in me and that inner child and this rabbit coming out. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited to dive deeper into that whole aspect of it when it comes to future releases and future music and stuff and just creating this whole persona and storyline behind it. It's very exciting.
Absolutely.
100%. It sounds like you're having just like a lot of fun with this project, and that makes me
Yeah,
very
just
happy.
having fun. That's
Yeah.
what it's
Yeah,
all about.
exactly. Do you think that you're still having kind of like the same amount of fun with this project that you had before? I mean, you got a team and before you had kind of like a bigger spotlight on you? Because before you said it was kind of like a passion project.
Yeah, I still had fun with it, but
Hmm.
having a team behind you that's really helping a lot with setting things up, all the ideas that I usually have that I couldn't execute that I was
Yeah.
excited about, now they can be executed.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So obviously the excitement just kicks it up a notch.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I have this idea. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make it
Instead
happen.
of just
Yes.
being excited about an idea that doesn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair enough.
Jesus. Okay, gotcha.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
So my writing process is pretty simple. Sometimes I like to turn everything off when I'm driving
Mhm.
Hmm.
and things will just come to me, or sometimes I'll wake up and I'll just have a melody stuck in my head. And if I think the melody is too good, that really stresses me out because then I have to go back through my phone and see what I've been listening to the whole past month
Hmm.
and make sure that I didn't just rewrite a song
Yeah.
that already exists,
Mhm.
Oops. Hmm.
which does happen sometimes. Even on the last Escape album, I'm like, actually, I know where I've heard this before. I figured it out, and it
Yeah, yeah.
definitely is a song I need to change it.
Yeah.
My
Hmm.
bad.
Something has to switch up.
Um, yeah. So I do that a lot, and then I send that to Eric, who writes the music. But mostly I just like Eric to send me some demos, and I just vibe out to the songs and
Hmm.
feel how it's making me feel, and I just write the vocals to the music usually.
Gotcha. Is it does that does the process for you change between the two projects, Dead Rabbits and Escape the Fate, or is it basically the same thing? Like
It's
just
it's basically the same process. Yeah. I
gotcha.
just listen to the track and vibe out to it.
Hmm.
Um, we've only done a few songs where it was vocals first, music later.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's usually always music first, and then I'm working on the vocals. I really need to start upping my game on how I can just start putting songs together when I have a vocal idea.
Hmm.
Which, Eric came over and set me up with a little DAW, so I just got to do my homework and figure it out. He's like, dude, just go in, find some chords that work for the melody you're thinking of on like Splice, drop it into the DAW and just sing it, and
Hmm.
I'll have a better idea of what you're going for.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, so just kind of upgrading the way I do things because I'm just always, all right, here's the idea, bro. Da 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 da. In
Come
like a voice
on.
memo, and I'll
Hmm.
send it in the voice memo, and nah, it's time to start doing my homework.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, I
Gotta
got you all
commit
set
now.
up. Now you got to do it for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you
Hmm.
got to do it for real.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or I'm just like, well, when do you have time? I'll just come over to your house. You have a
Exactly. I
month,
could just
right?
hum it to you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
We
I'll
can
just
hang
do it.
out.
He's like, but if you knew how to do it, think of how much more material we could. I'm like, well, I'll just send you all my voice memo stuff.
Yeah. You're
Exactly.
like,
Why are we
I got
trying to get away from the voice
thousands.
Yeah, it's like tons,
You know how
tons
long I've
are
been
in
writing
there.
Come
music,
on.
dude?
Jeez. So, what song off the album took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Probably Conspiracy took
Mm,
the longest, which it didn't necessarily take that long. I remember coming in the track that day and there was a lot of things that I was unsure about. Um, and then Eric was bouncing around ideas with me and we kind of settled on something. So that one was kind of like a little Frankenstein-y, I'd
mm,
say, as opposed to all the other songs on the album.
yeah.
My personal favorite from the record, I, I do have a soft spot for Artificial,
Mm,
because that's me kind of wanting to do something different and experiment a little bit. And I was able to work with my buddy High Society.
Mhm.
I
mm,
did a track with him called Burn, and then
mm,
asked him if he would come in and, judge and jury wanted it to just be a remix.
mm,
And I tried explaining, I don't want it to be a remix of the song. I want it
yeah.
to be the production
Hmm.
on the song.
See the vision. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, here's the perfect vibe. You remember that Corn album they dropped with Skrillex, I was like, that's the vibe I'm going for. Like that was badass. It wasn't a remix of the song.
Yeah.
That was the song. I loved how that sounded. That's what I want to do for Artificial Gods. It makes sense with the title of the song. It makes sense for what I'm talking about lyrically in the song. So I have a soft spot for that one. I know some people, they don't vibe with it. They hear certain sounds and it just immediately turns them off. But again, this project's for me.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
vibe with it. So I'm driving to the gym or I'm at the gym and I'm listening to that. And I'm like, yeah, this turned out sick.
Exactly.
It's so funny that you bring up the Path of Totality, because when we chatted about this single on our weekly episode, I actually brought up that record, that it reminded me of that entire album, because I love Korn. They're my favorite fucking band. And
dude, Korn's sick. And when they did that, I know some people didn't get it.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I think it's fantastic. Dude, it's one of my favorite records by them.
This fucking slaps.
Yeah.
The song is so good and just,
yeah.
It's just good. It's just good.
Yeah,
and I know, music is all personal opinion. I think that album fucking slapped. So I wanted to do a similar style on at least one track from this record.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My whole desire for this project from the get-go was, I always told everybody, I was like, all right, imagine if Slipknot went into the studio with Danny Elfman. That's what I want this project to sound like.
That's the vibe.
That's the vibe for it. Don't know if I've done a single song that you could say is described in that way.
It's the vibe.
But that's the vibe I want to go for. So maybe one day we'll perfectly get there and we'll mold that together. But that was the vibe I wanted to go for.
Hell yeah.
Wonderful.
I love it. So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you write the opener be the opener, close be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Yeah, that was essentially exactly what you said. That's how that process went. When we were going over the track listing, I was like, well, I think it would be great to open up the album with Artificial. There was definitely some songs that I didn't feel like I wanted on the front half of the record. Maybe they were a little too different, speaking of Conspiracy again. I'm like, I really like it, but maybe it's a little too experimental. Let's throw that towards the end of it. And then Eric really wanted Trapped as at least number 2. So that kind of gave me an idea of where we were going to shuffle things around as far as the final track listing goes.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Gotcha. And would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you were creating this record?
Oh, man. It's a little all over the place. It's a little difficult to go back and think about certain things when it came to writing it, but that's what art's all about. You got to be vulnerable or it's just not going to.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna get it. Nobody's gonna feel it.
Hit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you gotta get vulnerable a little bit. And I'd say the most vulnerable I got was when I was doing a line in a song that wasn't even a lyric that I wrote. It's just I'm doing the Serenity Prayer. And so that was a little odd because I do that prayer a lot when I'm going to the AA meetings. And so to put it in a song and try to hear the music and I'm just doing the Serenity Prayer, I was like, oh, I felt weird, but I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as there's one person that might hear this song and it helps to motivate them get through whatever their addiction or whatever their demons, even if it's not an addiction at all, just whatever it is, if it can help at least one person, that's what it's all about. It's helping me. I'm able to be creative. And if it can help a listener push them through their day, then that's great.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Damn straight.
Oh, yeah. Do you struggle at all with like alternating headspaces between different projects and then touring? Like, you mentioned you're so busy, you're constantly moving, doing something in music. Do you struggle at all with the alternating headspaces that come with all those different things?
I don't know who I am.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
there you go.
Who am I? I don't know.
Yeah, just a
no
guy.
idea.
How did I get here? Yeah.
There's the me, the husband. There's the me when I'm on tour with Escape. There's the me, the dad. There's the me, the son. There's the me, the brother. There's the me in Dead Rabbits. There's the me when I'm talking to management. I don't know. I just feel like I've started noticing that I talk in different ways or act certain ways, and it's always like me, but I definitely change things up a little bit depending on the environment that I'm in. And so it kind of leaves me when I'm just sitting by myself alone, driving, writing something, or just vegging out when my mouth gets wide open and I'm playing a video game. not on Twitch and nobody's watching when I'm just like drooling, just really into the
You're
game.
locked in. Lock the fuck
I'm like,
in. Yeah.
so is that me?
Yeah.
Is that final
The
form?
drool and
The
everything.
me when I'm
Yeah.
like just with myself and enjoying something, I'm not thinking about anything. It's just me. Is that
Yeah.
me, a drooling vegetable playing a
Yeah.
video game?
Hell yeah. You know what? Fuck yeah. More power to you.
Yeah, screw it.
Fuck it.
Love
Yeah.
it. All right. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do in the car with friends, in dark with headphones on, is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Oh man, I would recommend definitely headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Headphones for sure. If not headphones, take a drive at night or go for a walk. I feel like nighttime is the vibe for this album. But
sure.
headphones I would recommend because Judge and Jury, they got these Dolby Atmos
Okay.
mixes on this album. So you can listen to it in Dolby. I would recommend that.
Shit.
I have not been able to listen to it in Dolby yet.
Oh, boo.
But
you gotta get on that.
some of my friends and fans have said, hey man, that Dolby one sounds sick. I'm like, all right.
You're like, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
For sure, yeah. For sure. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
In 3 words?
Mm-hmm.
Any word?
Any 3 words.
Because I'm going to take the easy route.
Oh, no.
Dead Rabbits Redefined.
No, we are denying that. We are not taking that. That does not work. Try again. We need you to try again really quickly.
Try again. Okay, 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth.
Ooh.
Rediscovery.
Ooh.
Redefined.
There you go. Fuck yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
good.
Yeah, you cook with that one. Mm-hmm.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I would say hope.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. Hope.
Hope
Damn
for just, brighter days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it gets bad for all of us sometimes. Doesn't matter. Because it's only going to get better. But then it gets bad again. But then it gets better again. That's life. It's a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to learn how to enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Not get too comfortable when you're at the highs and don't get too depressed when you're at the lows.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And if you start learning how to appreciate the lows, it makes the highs even greater.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you need the contrast.
Exactly.
Damn straight. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
I don't think there was anything too difficult. I'd say probably the title track of the album, Redefined, was the first one we did. Howard wanted us to come in and just vibe out and see what we could come up with to see if there was definitely interest, which turned into EP, which turned into full album. And so we were co-writing that, and the original melody that came out of it was hella high. I mean, completely out of my range. So I would say that was probably the difficult part that we had to figure out. Like, okay, do I sing it in a different way that is in my range? But now the melody's not sounding good. All right, do we drop the tuning of the song? You try that, and then it's like, it doesn't have the same feeling anymore.
Hit the same. Yeah.
So, but we ended up figuring it out, and I hit it in the studio with Howard, and it sounded great. So that was probably the most difficult part of it, at least when it came vocally, just because the original melody. And that happens with me a lot, especially when I'm writing stuff in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good melody. I'll finally get in the vocal booth. The music's playing, and I'm like, oh yeah, nope.
This doesn't work.
What I was hearing in my head was like way above my range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift completely away from music. So if you could be one animal for the rest of your life, what animal would you be and why?
What animal would I be?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. For the rest of my life.
Rest of your life.
I feel like I'd want to be a flying animal, like an owl.
Ooh,
like a very wise,
majestic.
all-seeing owl.
That would be badass. The head on the swivel.
Confused, I just said, "Who am I?"
Yeah.
I'd be asking that in the forest all night.
Ooh.
That fits. There you go.
It fits.
Yeah.
And obviously we got to go for the obvious one, a rabbit.
A rabbit.
Yeah.
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 There you go.
But you get to transform into one on stage now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm already a rabbit.
There you
There
go.
you go. Check. Done. If you could have lunch with any celebrity or artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh man.
Hmm.
I would love to have lunch with Danny Elfman.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's amazing when it comes to his writing style. So I would love to pick his brain a little bit.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
you could go and write a Slipknot-esque song with Danny Elfman.
Oh yeah. I'm like Slipknot heavy, produced by Danny Elfman. Imagine what that would sound like.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
Crazy.
hear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You could do
Hell
it.
yeah. Hell yeah.
And for this last question, boom, you're on a desert island. You can bring one movie, one album, and one person. Who and what are you bringing?
Only one person,
Yep.
Hmm.
but I got a wife and 2 kids, man. That's tough.
Exactly. Mm.
Oh man. So I guess I'd have to say I bring my dog.
All right.
That way I'm not
Safe
bet.
choice.
That
Safe
way I'm
choice.
not-
Yeah.
Not upsetting anybody. Taking the dog.
Uh-huh.
Bring my dog.
Uh-huh.
The movie I would bring, man, that's a toughie.
Mm.
That'd be a toss up between either Bill and Ted
Hmm.
or a Goofy movie. Because
Classics.
those are the movies I could watch like a million times and never get tired of them. Probably, I'm gonna have to go with a Goofy movie because it has the music aspect of it.
All
For
right.
sure.
The soundtrack of that movie slaps. That's what made me want to do music as a kid in the first place.
That's
Yeah,
badass.
that's so sweet.
Was the power line music in that movie.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
And then one album.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh man. I've been really, really obsessively listening to Sleep Token lately.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe I would have to bring that. I don't think I would get tired of it.
Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. Sleep token.
Yeah.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Anything that you would like to plug?
Yes. New Dead Rabbits Redefined album coming out March 14th.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the rabbit persona and stuff, and it wasn't asked, but that is why there's 2 T's in the band name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
spell rabbit with 1 T.
One T.
So rabbit is misspelt.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
spelled like my last name.
Exactly.
Anytime I do an interview or an article or I see something in print, still to
Yeah.
this day, after 20 years, they spell Mabbitt like rabbit, which is where I got the idea for the band name to begin with.
Yeah. That's
And,
crazy.
and I was watching a lot of Gangs in New York at the time when I was tracking the song. So they kind of like went hand in hand. I'm like, that'd be a good band name.
That'd be
And let's
pretty dope.
misspell rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
All right. Well, thank you. Now it's been Craig from Dead Rabbits, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.